Hello everyone, I welcome you for today's lecture is centroid. Today we will be discussing centroid and moment of inertia. So regarding centroid, let us understand better by this problem and let's move on to the next topic of moment of inertia. So these are the two topics which will be discussed today. So right now the centroid is a concept. You should understand that. Then during moment of inertia, without identifying centroid, we cannot identify a moment of inertia. Why? Because moment of inertia has the basement of centroid. If you know the centroid, then you can extend up to the moment of inertia. That is why it is very much important to strengthen your centroid concept so that you can move on to the next topic of the moment of inertia. Like that, the application of all the mechanism, this centroid concept is very basic. So let us solve this problem. Right now we have a shape. You can see that the shaded part is only a component, and also you can see the non-shaded component, a hollow part. You can see that. So you have to find the moment of inertia of the shaded shape. So now the shaded shape is quite complicated to make into a structure. So if you understand in another way, we can see this structure as there is a square here. You can see the dimensions are 50 mm and 150 mm, and 150 mm is a hollow section here. This hollow looks like a quarter circle, and also you can see that this is 150 mm and 150 mm, and this hollow shape looks like a right angle triangle, and you can see a overall structure, a overall shape which is 200 mm by 200 mm. This is a square which you have to imagine. This square has 200 mm by 200 mm. Within the square you have to eliminate two shapes. What are they? The right angle triangle and a quarter circle. If you remove this from the square, then you can be able to make it up the shape which is inside this component. So by this concept, let us solve the shape to understand, to identify the centroid. Yes, right now let us make this into a well-known shape, a mathematical shape, which are, first one is a square. You can see that first we will find the area and the x distance and y distance from the origin, and we will multiply area into x. We will identify ax and we will multiply a into y to get ay. How to find centroid is x bar and y bar is the centroidal coordinate. Right now you have to imagine that this is the origin. Always you can assume as the lower left corner as the origin. In any structure, this is a method of following to identify the centroid. You can assume this point as a centroid, that is lower left corner, and we can take a square here. The area of square is 200 mm by 200 mm. So the 200 into 200 will be the area, and next one you are having a quarter circle. What is the formula to find the area of full circle? It is pi r square. If you want quarter circle, the 1/4 you can divide it by 4. So the radius is from the origin point. You can say this is the radius of 150 hence pi r is 150. You will get the answer. Next, you are having a right angle triangle which is a hollow part. This right angle triangle, if you want to find the area, half BH. What is the base? Base is 150, height is 150, and half B into H. You will get the answer. Finally, what you have to do is you have to subtract the value of quarter circle and a triangle. So if you eliminate from the square the two component, you will get the area of this complicated component, that is the total area 11078. And next we shall find the x coordinate, that is from the 0, first we shall find the x coordinate of the square. So for a square, the centroid will be exactly at the half of the dimension. What is the base dimension here? The base dimension is 200 mm. So it will act exactly at 100 mm. So that is 200 by 2. So this is the x direction. And for a quarter circle, for identifying centroid, you have to know the formula, that is 4r divided by 3 pi. What is r? R is the radius. So the radius here is 150 mm. 150 into 3 divided by 3 pi. You will get the answer. And also for a triangle, the centroid part, how to identify? From the y-axis, the x distance is 50 mm. 50 plus 150 into 2 by 3. That is why here it is indicated as 50 plus 150 into 2 by 3. So if you want x-axis, x coordinate of all the shape, you have to identify from the y plane. So this is the y plane. From the y plane, the centroid will be at 2/3 of 150. So 2/3 of 150, which is this dimension, and you have to add this 150. Next, from the y-axis, we can identify the same thing. It is a square box. From the square, if you want y coordinate, you have to take the x plane. From the origin, this will be the x plane. From the x plane, you have to find the distance of 3 shapes. So for a square, this is the 200 mm. Your height will be exactly at 100 mm from the x plane. So 200 by 2 is 100. And for the quarter circle, the formula is 4r divided by 3 pi. So r here is 150, hence you will get this answer. And finally, in this triangle, you will be having 2/3 of 150. So 2/3 of 150 from the plane is 50 plus 2/3 of 150. So 50 plus 2/3 of 150, you will get the answer. Finally, if you want to find ax, you have to multiply the component to arrive this answer, and you will get the summation of all the value. Note here that you have to subtract the quarter circle's answer and triangle value. These are the two values which has to be subtracted from the square value. Right now, if you subtract from this, you will be getting this answer. And if you want x bar, sum of ax divided by sum of a. So sum of ax will be 1187500. You have to divide it by the area to get 107.19. So finally, from the origin, the x bar is 107.19 and y bar is 205.15 mm. From this problem, you understood that if it is a complicated shape, first you have to make it into a definite shape. With that, you have to subtract the basic shape to get the centroid of a complicated section. Let us go for the second problem. Right now you are having a dam. So this is generally the shape of a dam. here at this part you will be having the reservoir always, and at the right hand part you will be having the dam gate. So you will be having a sluice gate here, and in this part you will be having a water. So if you want to identify the centroid of the dam, where the total mass of the dam is being concentrated, you have to identify the centroid here. This is a example which nearly more civil engineers will be solving this oriented problem for identifying the irrigation oriented structure. So dam will come under irrigation oriented structure. So they will be solving this oriented shape to identify the centroid and the forces which are acting. So right now we will find out the centroid first. So you can see a dotted line here. In order to split it into a definite shape, we can extend the line here, that is a dotted line, and if you make it into a dotted line here, you can see a right angle triangle and a rectangle. Another third part is a right angle triangle, and fourth one is a rectangle. So by these four parts the dam is being built up. So this is a built up section. We can identify the centroid by using this concept. Now no need of subtracting anything. Why? Because within the structure you have identified the number of well defined shapes, so that in the result nothing to subtract here. You have to add all the component. So first component is a triangle. So for a triangle, first we shall find the area, that is half BH, base is 2 meter, and the height is, here it is given as 1 meter and 5 meter. So that is totally 6 meter. So half into base is 2, height is 6. So half 6 into 2. Next one, for this rectangle, the base is 2 meter and height is, this is 6 plus 1.5 is 7. So the overall height is 7.5. So 7.5 into 2. Next, the third component is a right angle triangle which has a base of 4 meter and a height of 5 meter. That is half 4 into 5. Finally, you are having a rectangle here which is having a distance of 5 meter into 1 meter. So you have found out the area, and you can add to find the summation of area. Next we shall find the x coordinate. So as of our assumption, we will assume the left hand side bottom corner as the 0, 0, and it is the origin. So you can see a y axis and a x axis. So from this origin you have to identify the x distance and y distance. So first we shall find the x distance from the y plane. So this is y axis, this is the y plane. From this y plane, the x distance of this triangle will be 2/3. From 0, this will be 2/3 of base. What is the base here? This is 2. That is 2/3 of 2. And next one, this is a rectangle. For a rectangle, it is b by 2. To identify the centroid, it is b by 2. That is 2 by 2 is 1. Always from the origin you have to measure the x. So for identifying from the origin, this is 2 plus 2 by 2. So hence 2 plus 2 by 2 is written. Next one, the third triangle, which is having a base dimension of 4 meter. From the 0 point, this will be 2/3 and the remaining part will be 1/3. So here you have to take 1/3 of b. What is b? Is 4 meter. So 1/3 of b is 4 meter. You are adding a 4. What is this 4? This 4 is the distance from the origin. So 2 plus 2 is 4 here. Next one, finally you are having a rectangle. This rectangle, what is the base distance is 5 meter. So it is 5 by 2 is 2.5. From the origin, if you are considering, this is 4 plus 5 by 2 is 2.5. Now we have found out the x coordinate of all the section. Now let us find the y coordinate. So from the x plane you have to find the y coordinate. So for a triangle, this will be 1/3 of B, 1/3 of H. So height here is total, this is 6. So finally you will be getting 1/3 of 6. Next, the overall height is 7.5. From the explain, it will be 7.5 by 2, and for this triangle you are having a distance of 1, so you have to add 1 from the plane. 1 plus 1/3 of 5. So this is the height, so the 1/3 of height is the formula, 1/3 of 5. And finally you are having this rectangle. By this rectangle you have to find 1 by 2. If this is the total height is 1, that is 1 by 2. Hence you will be having the y-axis. Similarly, identify ax and ay. Finally you will be getting sum of ax by a is the answer. You are getting 3.85 and 2.706 as the x and y coordinate. Next we will quickly move on to another problem, which is a complicated shape, but this is a built up section. But if you look into it carefully, here you have to subtract or you have to add. This you have to analyze first and you have to proceed the problem. Right now you can see a rectangle shape which is having a breadth of 160 mm and height of 80 mm. So here what you can do, a rectangle, two portions are hollow. So right now you can find the area of rectangle and the centroid of this part, and you can subtract the remaining. This is a half circle, you can see this is second portion, and you can see a triangle which is there. So we can subtract the second and third shape from the first one. So let us quickly solve this. Also, for solving this, you can see that first you have to cut this section. If we are cutting this section into two half, we can see from y part, if we are cutting, the same shape is being mirrored here. So the both the sides are equal and opposite, so that you can take it as x bar as common, which you have already analyzed in the previous class. You can check the description box for that oriented problem. Hence the x bar will be common for all the section, that is x bar will be 80 mm. Right now if you are cutting the section in explain, it is not equal in top and bottom, so that is why you have to find the y bar. So y bar has to be identified. So right now we will proceed with this. So the area of rectangle is, base is 160 mm and b into d, d is 80 mm. So 160 into 80. Next you are having a half circle. The area of full circle is pi r square. For a half circle, pi r square by 2. And you are having a triangle which is having a base of 40 mm and height of 20 mm. So half BH, 40 half into 40 into 20, you will be getting this. Next one is y coordinate. So from the x plane you have to identify the y coordinate. You have to find the individual centroid of the rectangle. So for a rectangle, the height is 80 mm. So 80 by 2 will be the y coordinate. So 80 by 2 is 40. And for the half circle, first you have to add. See, this is total 80 mm is given here. You know the centroid from the center. The centroid of this half circle will exactly act at 4r divided by 3 pi. So from the top surface, the distance will be 4r divided by 3 pi. So r is 30 mm here divided by 3 pi. So if you want the remaining distance, you can subtract 80 minus the 4r divided by 3 pi. So you will get the remaining distance from the x plane. And last one, you are having a triangle here, which from the base you have to add 10 mm. So 10 plus 1/3 of height. What is the height? The height is 20 mm. So 10 plus 1/3 of 20 mm. So you will be getting this. Finally, if you multiply, you will be getting sum of ay and sum of a. If you divide this, you will be getting 37.34 as y bar. And x bar is, you already know that it is 80 mm due to the symmetry. Yes. Let us move on to our next concept, which is mass moment of inertia, and it can be said as mass when you consider mass of a structure, and if you consider area of a structure, then it is known as area moment of inertia. First, you should understand what you mean by a moment of inertia. Then we can move on to mass and area moment of inertia. The moment of inertia is, you can see a disk here. This is a disk, and the total mass of the disk which will be acting at the centroid. So this is the centroidal point. Through this point you are having an axis. So this is the centroidal axis, and this is the radius you can see. From the axis you can see the extreme radius r. So a moment of inertia mathematically is said to be mass into the distance from the axis of rotation. So if there is a disk here, this is an object, then the object has a weight. You can take that mass as a 2 kilo. So this mass into the radius distance from the axis, there will be some distance. So if you want at the extreme end, you have to square this distance. So the moment of inertia will be mass into r square. So you need two components. What are they? First one is mass and second one is radius, that is distance. If you want area moment of inertia, instead of mass you have to consider the area of the disk. This is a circle, and if this is a circle, you know the formula for finding the area of a circle, that is pi r square. You are having a radius here, pi r square into area into distance square. So what is the distance? Distance is r here. So if we are finding moment of inertia, which at the extreme end, you can substitute r square. So this is known as moment of inertia, mass and the two branches. What are they? Area moment of inertia and mass moment of inertia. The only variation is, if you consider mass with the body, then it is mass moment of inertia, and if you consider area of a body, then it is known as area moment of inertia. Both the things has their own part of application. And a moment of inertia is generally the tendency to resist the angular acceleration. If I try to twist so this is a twisting force. If I want to twist the disk, I have to apply some force, a twisting force, to rotate this. The disk will not automatically rotate. You have to apply some force. Already the disk is having a inbuilt resistance. If the disk is very high, say for example, if the disk is size of 2 meter and a disk has 100 kg or 200 kg, you cannot rotate by an individual person generally. That is why there is some inbuilt resistance. So the inbuilt resistance due to the twisting force, which is called the moment of inertia. Now let us take an example here. Here you can see 4 number of section here. All the objects are at a single point, and the slope is also same for each and every object, but some objects moves quickly and other object doesn't move quickly. You are having two cylinder and two sphere. One sphere which is located at here is a solid sphere, and this is a hollow sphere, and this is a solid cylinder and this is a hollow cylinder. You can see that the solid sphere and cylinder is moving first, and the hollow sections are not moving quickly as the solid shape. And this is a second example. You can see that this is a hammer. If you drop the hammer from the head, and the second case is if you drop the hammer from the tail, you can note that the head part drops quickly if you compare with the tail part. The tail part, the mass will not be high. That is why it is falling at a slower rate when you compare to this. This is the concept of mass moment of inertia. The more the mass, the more will be the mass moment of inertia. Similarly, the more the mass for a solid object, you will be having more mass moment of inertia. And there are two concepts: first moment of area principle and second moment of area principle. So first you should know there is a term called moment and area. What do you mean by moment? Moment is generally load into perpendicular distance. So what do you mean by first moment of area is area into x. So generally a moment is load into distance. So here instead of load, area is considered. Moment of area. In the name it represents, if you multiply area into a distance, that is x, that is first moment of area. And if you need second moment of area for a particular area, you have to apply area into x square. That is second moment is you have to multiply x twice. So that is why x into x will become x square, second moment of inertia. So this is the concept behind first moment of area and second moment of area. Previously you have to identify the difference. In the previous slide you have discussed moment of inertia. Here you are discussing moment of area. You have to know the moment of area principle to find the moment of inertia. Here the term area is given here. That is why this is used to find the area moment of inertia. That is indicated by I. So if you want moment of inertia about y-axis, I is the letter which is indicated to find moment of inertia. If you want I, the formula is area into distance square. If you are taking y-axis, you have to take x distance. And moment of inertia about x-axis, if you need x-axis, if you need moment of inertia about x-axis, then you have to multiply area into y square. Note that if you need xx, you have to multiply y. If you need yy, you need to multiply with x. So this is the thumb rule to identify quickly. So this is the area. You can see this is a component which is an irregular component which is having a area, and from the origin it is having a x distance and y distance. If you need first moment of area, you have to find the area into the distance. That is, if you need in x-axis, that is xx plane and yy plane. If you need moment of inertia of about yy plane, you have to take x-axis. If you need moment of inertia about xx axis, you have to find the y distance. So this is what the concept. And last we will look into the radius of gyration, which is indicated by k, and the formula for identifying radius of gyration is, now you know I is known as the moment of inertia. This is the letter identified for moment of inertia, and A is known as the area. And what do you mean by k square? K square, where k is known as radius of gyration. If you want k square, you have to take this A out of this equation, that is I by A, then k square will be there. If you want k, the square will move out of this equation and it will become root, and if you need kx, you have to substitute ix to identify kx, and if you need ky, you have to substitute iy, root of iy by a. So this is the formula to find radius of gyration. And generally this concept is, if you are having any plane, so let us assume this is a y plane, there is an object here. So the distance between the centroid to the axis, which is known as the k distance, this is known as radius of gyration. It is the distance from the given axis where the whole area of the plane figure is assumed to be concentrated so as not to alter the moment of inertia about the given axis. So this is the distance. The radius of gyration will be, if we are considering y-axis, and you will be having a distance of k y. If you consider x-axis, then you will be having a distance of kx. So you are having kx and ky for all the objects. So right now, today, these are the important concepts which I would like to discuss with you. I hope these concepts and the analytical part you have understood. By this understanding, there is a second term called application. So here, right now, you have studied the concept, the formulas, and how to apply the formula, and you have found out the answer by solving the problem. If you know to identify the solution of this kind of a problem, you can apply for the practical areas. Say during our solution, we have solved a dam oriented structure. For designing a dam, civil engineers generally use this formula to identify the centroid, and after this they will identify the moment, how much of force which is being created by the water. A dam is used to resist the water, so they will identify the force of water first, and they will identify the force of inbuilt force of the dam. So they will equate the external force versus the resisting force in order to make a stable dam oriented structure. So this is, you can see that this is a simple problem after understanding, but this simple understanding concept gives a very big application during your engineering career. I hope that this lecture would have given you understanding regarding the moment of inertia and centroid. Happy learning. See you again. Thank you.